Vampires do exist. This one we fight, this one we face, can take on many forms. He is both young and old. He can appear as mist, as vapor, as the fog. And he can vanish at will. The power of his evil desire has no end.
Yes, that's another vampire movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and yet we have Christians, and I'm talking to my brothers and sisters here. I can understand the world being drawn into this darkness, but for those of us who should know different, who have the light of the world in our hearts, we shouldn't have anything to do with this. I'm glad Tal Brook is with us, president and chairman of the Spiritual Counterfeits Project, and I want you to go to our website, click on through for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're going to learn more about the fabulous work that Tal does. He puts out a marvelous publication. The magazine is the Spiritual Counterfeits publication. In fact, you're going to see the cover we put up was the one called Vampires Rising. The whole publication dealt with vampires, and he's done one on Avatar as well. And Brooke will have to have you back to talk. Tal will have to have you back to talk about that as well. But I got a bunch of questions here, and I find them to be very intriguing. Alex, let me go to you next, if I can, please, in West Palm Beach, Florida. Your question for Tal, please.
Hello, how you guys doing today? I just wanted to ask, okay, as a Christian, you basically answered this question, but I'd like a more in-depth answer.
Sure.
Is it bad, for us to want to, go into, a fantasy world? Is it bad for us to read the book, and, to go and watch the movie? Should we, not watch it at all, or is it okay, check it out? Like books like Aragon and Twilight and stuff like that?
I know that some people get into it. I mean, I've had to obviously watch the movies to be talking to you about them, and there's there kind of warning signs on the way in, but my motive is to reach people and be able to talk intelligently about it like we're doing right now. And, I mean, the other thing is I come from such a long, dark past, and we'll get into it later, from being very young and getting into the occult when we lived in England, that I know a lot of the gateways, and I know a lot of the seductions, and part of my whole thing is to disarm deception if I can pull it off. And, I mean, one thing is that, keep in mind, the theological concept of total depravity is that we all have the potential a corruption, like in all fallen men. So the reality is that in the vampires, the embodiment of the mystery of iniquity, when the will chooses evil over good. So it's a dark mirror reflecting back into us. So it's like you're asking me, well, did Bill Clinton smoke or didn't he smoke? Should I try drugs or shouldn't I? I would say no, but I also know realistically in the time we're in, peer groups go to these things, Christian and non-Christian. They go, and so the main thing, I think it's even more important to be armed and to realize that evil has a banality. In the end, you're dried up and you're bored and you're broken to pieces, and it's like going down an alley in Hoboken or Brooklyn where you see heroin addicts, and after 20 years on the needle, they look like corpses. I mean, in the end, where this train is going to take you is a very dark place where you're not more alive and you're not happier, but you're in fact the opposite of happy. You're drained of all your humanity and your innocence and your vitality, and that is one of the problems with this dark passageway. And the point I make in reviewing the movie Avatar, and that's on the webpage that Janet mentioned, or we could give out the phone number, but the reality is that I stand in amazement at the sheer power of a technology that maybe Aldous Huxley was able to describe in Brave New World, but now it's here, with digital, with vast computer power and the ability of digital effects. Magic has come real. I mean, you can use it for good or evil, but I mean, when I saw Avatar, I thought, seeing this on an IMAX in 3D, are you kidding me? The sky's the limit if you want to propagandize a generation, and if they're not pre-warned and haven't learned critical thinking, you can take them to the cleaners. Are you with me on this?
Yeah, 100%. Dana in Cleveland, Ohio, your comment or question for Tal Brook, please.
Hello, Janet. I can't believe I'm talking live to you. But anyway, I am a fan of the Twilight Saga, the book. I just actually started to read the first book. I've seen both movies, and taking a different kind of take on it. Being a Christian, I think this series kind of reminds us the importance of guarding our hearts, and actually it kind of starts a dialogue with maybe non-Christians, or it could actually be just a good talk topic, if you will, maybe in other forums. I don't know if I want to say in a church group, but maybe with just even other people, because we talked about like the seduction of our senses. I heard you guys talk about that. I heard you talk about the battle of our will. And in the book, some of these characters, such as Edward, yes, he was turned into a vampire. Was he turned into one of his own free will? No, he wasn't. You see his character kind of struggle. A lot of them really do want to be human again because they want to have that free will.
Dana, can I interrupt you? Oh, I'd love to hear you keep talking because I really appreciate your comments, but I sure want to get Tal's response to what you have to say. Tal.
Well, this is in the new vampire genre, that's, quote, evolved beyond Dracula, and then part of the brilliance of what they're doing is making, I mean, the vampire with conscience is what she's talking about, with their unwilling victims, and Edward being one, and then in Twilight, Sookie's boyfriend, Bill Compton is another one, and then of course in Moonlight, St. James is another one. So this makes it more compelling. This makes more complex the structure and the seduction, and they're clever at what they're doing.
Yes, Tal, this was fascinating. Yes, that is exactly right. But, you know, this is the prince of this world, and he's going to be extremely attractive to try to draw people into his world. Tal, thank you so much. I want you to come back again soon. I want you to share your testimony. I want you to talk about Avatar, so many things. And, folks, if you go to inthemarketwithjanetparshall.org, click on Tal's picture, go to his website, learn more about the Spiritual Counterfeits Project. See you next time.